Hmm.
Okay, we are live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the River's Edge. Super excited to have Maureen Edwardson back on today. I'm going to go through her bio in case you guys might have some newcomers today. Maureen is the originator of Inner Resonance Technologies, has been studying, evolving, and sharing the IRT protocol fully explained in her book, Your Magical Evolutionary Code Unleashed, The Science of Inner Resonance for almost, wait, sorry, I didn't hit record, Maureen. I didn't
Oh,
mean to screw up your, I didn't mean to screw up your,
well, here we go again.
here we go again. Maureen has shared these teachings in U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs, national conferences, and tribal schools trainings with shamans of the Republic of Altai, medical and physics professors from the research institutes in Novosibirsk and Moscow, Russia, in Scandinavia. Maureen is certified delegate of Nassim Haramein's breakthrough unified field theory physics, which demonstrates mathematically that each cell is a black and white hole, the event horizon between the Newtonian and quantum worlds, proving that we are indeed the central co-creative force of our own perceptual universe, connected in oneness. IRT is resourced on Dr. Bruce Lipton's website and in his latest book, Spontaneous Evolution and the Honeymoon Effect. Dr. Lipton, the father of epigenetics, endorses the front of Maureen's book with the quote, "Maureen's pioneering efforts are vital to our evolution." Maureen currently has an online international practice facilitating the wake up and empowerment of the global system, both individually and with cutting edge groups that are creating breakthrough technologies which address our current crises in order to shift our collective into one of greater empowerment. She is also a consultant to and featured expert in the recently released movie, The Grand Self Movie, by acclaimed filmmaker James Sinclair. Maureen hosts her own TV show on Awake TV Network.live, and that's in currently season 3. It's called Human Redefined, which facilitates the practicing and embodying of our limitless evolutionary codes for physical immortality by location, empowering us to the next level. Thank you for being here, Maureen.
Thank you for having me. It's always fun to chat with you and everyone.
Super exciting. So the reason we're on today, guys, is because the world is crazy out there right now. And Maureen thought it'd be fun to do a video together on how to maintain your sovereignty in these crazy times, how to handle life when you get triggered, which seems to happen a lot these days. So Maureen has a lot of great tips on how to handle that. So thank you, Maureen, again. And I'm excited to hear what kind of great things we all come up with today.
Yeah, me too. Looking forward to some questions from the viewers as well.
Yeah, really, this is for you guys. So if you guys have any questions on how to stay connected to spirit, how to remain calm, how to react when you get triggered, and any of those kind of questions, please ask, and we will see how we can help out. So Maureen, so people are getting crazy out there right now, right? With all this crazy information that's going on, and it seems like everything's just fighting right now is coming to a head. And spiritually speaking, we are moving to the light, but right now it feels like we're in the middle of the storm. How can people not stay in the weeds and like look at information? When I say stay in the weeds, I mean they are looking at day-to-day information. What's happening now? What's happening now?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a physical impact of that, mental, spiritual impact. And you stay in a place of fear or an anxiety, or how do you not do that?
Well, it's interesting because we've been conditioned to fear for many, many years from many, many different sources. And so we have also had and remain to have a lot of unresolved issues in our background, in our experience. And so it's like your cup is already, up to your eyebrows full. And then it doesn't take a lot to put you over the edge and to react, because you have very little bandwidth really to process. And then who am I in, response to that? You're not free to, when you have unresolved issues and you've been conditioned to a lot of fear-based culture and society, then your go-to is automatically, you react, because that's what we've been trained to do. and our old experience then also is yanking us around. So basically, my main advice is no matter what technique you use, to find a way to resolve any old issues that disempower you, that where you take things personally, and because that way, because if you don't do that, then you're like a puppet, and you're a victim to everything and anything that comes along, and any new information, like you said, that comes, you're going through the weeds. You can't have the discernment because you have all these filters of expectation and victimhood. So you are the perceiver, and it's our perceptions that run our reality. And so then we keep disempowering our own selves based on our own inner lack of self-worth, or clarity, or ability to really be discerning what's true and what's not true for us at any given moment. Because what is truth? Who knows everything for sure? Nobody knows everything for sure.
Right.
And when you're faced with a lot of doubtful or fearful information, how do you discern that? How do you work through that? And IRT, inner resonance technologies, gives us an additional opportunity, because we truly are at a higher spiritual level commanders of our own reality, our own personal universe. So then the question becomes, is this true, or is this not true, to what do I want truth to be? What am I going to invest my intention and my vision into creating for the world that I'm choosing to see? And there's a difference in there. And we do have the power to create and co-create. And so as we get together with other people of like minds that are choosing to go above and beyond the duality of all the disconnect that's going on right now, and all the fighting, if you want to call it that, and the discord. So let's just take it up to another level. What do you want, and where do you want to put your focus? Let's create something different and new, not this or this. Let's focus on something completely moving forward for how we can shift the paradigm that's happening at this time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So is it when you're watching the news and all the different YouTube videos on what's going to happen now next and all of that, would you say we are then participating in that, and we're staying in the 3D rather than we keep ourselves in the 3D, and does that actually block us from moving ahead,
It
spiritually speaking?
does. Yeah, it does. And it's all the old programming, all the old experiences that block our perceptions, that filter our thinking, and that condition us in one way or another to react. And so we have another choice, because truly we are quantum beings. Our higher self, our superconscious is quantum. And so that means that we are co-creating in the field of information, and we're breathing that in. We're part of and one with the informational field, the matrix, if you will. And so we are creative beings. The observer has been proven in quantum science and unified field theory to change the results of any particular outcome or experiment. So if there's scientists in a room and somebody that has question or doubt about what's actually being done in that experiment, they can skew the results by their presence and by their doubt, because they're putting that into the field. So it's basically, what is the world we want to see, and what are we choosing to be true, and focus there. And it's really quite incredible. Just like Wayne Dyer used to say, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
I love that.
And literally, not just perceptually, but literally, those other things change. And it's an interactive universe. We can do cloud busting. Have you ever done cloud busting?
I don't know what that is.
Day? Yeah. So you take, it's a nice summer day with fluffy little clouds. You choose one, and you just soft focus your gaze, and you just imagine it dissolving. You just see it dissolving, and it does. And the same with street lights or neon lights. If you see one wobbling, you can go and send it some positive energy, and it just goes boop. And even if it is there steady, it's fun to go and it even brightens up more because it's an interactive universe. We're part of and one with everything. And so we are influencers, we are co-creators with that greater field at large. So once we start practicing that, it's really interesting. There have been people that are very adept at doing these things for many centuries. And now it's becoming one of our evolutionary codes that are getting unleashed. And so it's about conscious participation, conscious choice. And we may be just one voice and feel powerless. However, as we speak what we're choosing to envision, then we get together somehow through resonance with like-minded others. And we discover that there's all kinds of new programs, new projects that people are getting together to create something totally new. Just like Buckminster Fuller, I believe it was Bucky that said, you don't want to go against what you don't like. You want to create something new.
Right. And so what about being the observer? Do you think being an observer and watching this movie play out that we're in, is that blocking us from moving ahead? Just being an observer and paying attention to what's going on, but not actually engaging in fear based.
I think a couple of points on that one. How can you truly be an observer without an opinion, without a charge, without a negative reaction? So that is what allows you to be an observer, a true observer, not just like, what's going to happen? Watching this, I'm watching you,
Right?
But truly, being in that center of your heart, with compassion, with holding space for a greater outcome, a positive outcome of whatever is true or isn't true, allowing what's not really the greater truth for the greater good to gently dissolve away, and then have a core truth continue that you're contributing to, that you're holding space for, and in a greater result without attachment. And that's a key too to inner peace and to create and vision forth what we're choosing. So the tricky business of that is all the old programs in our subconscious that taking us out everywhere, right? And that's a reactive piece that make us victim. So I guess the bottom line and the simple answer to all of these questions is find a way that you can neutralize all the old information, all the old pain and trauma that have put you on defense, that have put you into a reactive place, that have put you with a filter that you create a different reality with, that is not serving you, it's not working for the greater good. And then you vibrate with that negative mindset and work with other people that collude with you in that negative mindset. And what we know for sure, a universal law, is what we focus on is what we create more of. So how can we be really aligned and congruent and coherent with our choices? By clearing what's not relevant to us anymore, that no longer needs to interfere and create static and clog up our perceptions inappropriately. So that's my recommendation. And of course, that's what IRT does. So of course, I have that understanding and suggest that. However, it's not just through IRT, although it is a quickening in that sense. It's an opportunity that allows more to happen in each moment, because it's operating on the superconscious, which is quantum, which is poof right here, right now. However, any other good deprogramming, reprogramming, any other technique that deals with the emotion in the moment is good. So being consciously aware, taking responsibility for your reactions, that's a really big one. Not just pointing out that everybody and everything and every institution is at fault, right? So remember what they say, when you point your finger, you've got three pointing back at you. So when you can look at what triggered you in whatever way you're choosing to do that, then it frees you up to make peace with that. And then you have an ability to change that.
So when someone gets triggered, like by the pedophilia, mentioning of that, or all that craziness in the world, how would they take accountability for that? or responsibility.
For the individual that gets triggered by that, of
Yeah.
course, you can really make a good case for being angry, unrighteous anger. And so there's nothing wrong with anger, and especially righteous anger. However, in the bigger situation, what is your power in that particular situation, in this particular moment for you personally, right? It's triggering a lot of people. There have been probably, I don't know, the statistics 35 years ago for sexual abuse, for example, in women, but it happens also obviously in men, but that wasn't the focus that many years ago, 35 years ago. However, the stats at that time was 1 in 4 reported abuse cases. And so we know how few get reported. So we know it's probably more than 3 out of 4 people that have been sexually abused. So when you hear about pedophilia, that's going to activate unresolved trauma, whether people remember or whether it's repressed. And then there's that collective PTSD that happens. And so that rage happens, and it happens from a point of pain and trauma rather than a point of, all right, I'm going to send love to this. I'm going to send compassion. I'm going to work at meditating with myself and whoever wants to join me in seeing, all children safe, and a resolution to this unacceptable, like outrageous, should never ever happen situation. And trust then that everybody that has been the abusers have opportunity to have accountability and healing, because people that do bad things have had bad things happen to them, and it doesn't excuse it, and it doesn't mitigate anything with any kind of horrific acts. So yeah, have the accountability and see, we think, oh, when all else fails, we can't do anything, let's just pray, for want of a better word. And not everybody's religious in that prayer word or spiritual in that prayer word. But the most powerful thing we can do is go into a vision of resolution and seeing everyone and everything safe. We are in what's been considered the great shift of the ages. And what we've been doing for all of the levels of conscious awareness that we have been moving towards for decades now, things are getting worse. It seems that they're getting worse. But what's happening is everything's coming up to the surface for awareness so that we can do and be something different. And so the underbelly, has been exposed, and it's always been there, but it's been, under the surface. And now it's free and open because healing and a resolution is required. That, it's unsustainable. We can't keep being inhuman to each other and to animals and to plants, like to the whole system of the whole planet. It's all coming up as connected. It's all part of everything. So it's about loving ourselves, healing, sending love and compassion to others, because when we truly clear and neutralize our own abuse, our own trauma, and our own pain, then we have that ability to show up, hold space in our hearts for something different to happen without having the charge that's going to then contribute to a negative of what we don't want.
And what about taking action and like our rights being taken away right now in the world and everything the way it is? Is it like, can you just meditate and get in that good space of being connected with spirit, or does it also require action to go out there and, fight for your rights?
Both and or, and all is true. What we need to take care of, first of all, is our negative charge, because we don't want to contribute, energetically with our dominant feeling of what we don't want. And that is just adding into the problem and empowering that, right? That's like the war against drugs, and, it just increases everything. We know this. And at the other side of thing, what is ours? Do you know Andrew Harvey?
No.
Andrew Harvey is a social activist of great passion and quite well known. He's also a Rumi poet translator, and he also does sacred yoga, and he's a phenomenal person. I've met him personally. But what he says and he gets really worked up, really angry, and he's just spitting from the stage. And I've been in several presentations that he's given, and some of the smaller rooms where I've been sitting, I like front row center, right? But was getting spit on, right? Literally he's foaming at the mouth, right? He's very passionate, and he's slamming the lectern if he's got, on stage, and shouting and crying, and wow, like, this is unacceptable. We need to make change here, people, right? Yeah, very dramatic and very heartfelt. And oh my goodness. But one of the things Andrew advises is to set your alarm for 3 a.m. and wake up and search your heart for what breaks it the most. Where does your heart break? And that is yours. Is it animal abuse? Is it gay rights? Is it pedophilia? Is it whatever it is, what breaks your heart the most? And then choose something, however small or large, to contribute, whatever is yours, whatever you're able to do. It doesn't matter how small it is. Then you can contribute, to a fund that is helping people or animals. But yeah, so you're putting focus, you're creating positive, supportive energy towards some kind of cause or some kind of issue. That's how we know what's ours.
Right. I'm going to check in with our audience. Can you see the chat on your computer?
No, I can. I opened up the Zoom chat, but I don't see the other chat.
You got to open up YouTube, not Zoom. They're in YouTube. So click on the link to our video and then the chat. So thank you guys for joining, everyone. Woof woof, Shimmer says hi. Mary has a dog named Shimmer. Sammy is in the other room, so sorry he's not joining he's forbidding to do the video today. Yeah, tell us where your guys are from too. Rhiannon is from Wales. And someone earlier said they were, no, I don't see it. Or that they had been where you said you were. I lost it now.
Yeah, it's interesting, Kelly, because last time the chat automatically came up on my screen, but I don't see it happening right now. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'll let you moderate that and let me know what's going on in the chat.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know what this person said. Last night was fed another breadcrumb. Reagan was killed by John Hinckley. Okay. So we want to talk about like you hear news like that, right? And they like, okay, that's crazy. Like, did that really happen? And
what was that again?
Oh, Reagan was killed by John Hinckley.
Oh.
But hearing something like that, though, you can observe it and like, wow, like I think when we hear all these things that are coming out, we're going to be like, wow, we've been manipulated and lied to all these years. And it's just a crazy world that we've been living in.
Yes.
And for those who aren't awake, that's going to be pretty difficult to manage, right? So some of us realize it all is all a movie and it's all corrupt and we're moving away from that. But those who haven't been privy to that or haven't awoken yet, what is your advice? Like, is there anything we can do to help them?
When you hear news like that, you can ask those questions. You can go down and check it out and verify it. And my question would be, what is the relevance to you, and what is the relevance to this time and place, and what is the relevance moving forward? As a collective, is that how do we deal with that? And do we just take it in as information? Oh, isn't that interesting? I wonder what's the truth of that. And if we're curious, follow our curiosity. But if we're feeling outraged and think, oh my God, if we're having a reaction, that's when we have to pay attention to what's ours, because we don't want to feed into something that may not be true, or even if it's true, a negative aspect of whatever it is. We want to come from a peaceful heart and have compassion. And then from that place, we can hear the messages clearly that are ours to be inspired and take action and be creative with. And so that's what I suggest. And sometimes it's hard to understand and know that and listen to the signals if you have a lot of static in your field. So what I recommend is clearing, your own reactions and coming into a peaceful place so that you can sit in that center of your heart, which is what IRT allows at the end result, in that clear space with greater awareness of what's true, what's not true, what's yours, what's not yours, and how to contribute in a positive way to anything that's necessary. Is there an awareness for everyone that's going to be relevant and helpful to move forward? I don't know. So everybody has their own sunbeam, their own beam of light, their own direction that's being lit up for them. And so it's only really when you're really clear and do some kind of either meditating on it or clearing all your own past history that you can come up with some neutral response rather than an inflamed reaction that is unhealthy, right? Both for you and not serving the greater good.
Mhm.
So I think that's where, we just need to weave our way, and float down that river, are we swimming in this direction or are we just allowing the river to take us, right? And going, as we're going down the river, right? And there's a big spring runoff and this is a big, yeah, exactly. Let's just swim, let's go swim over to this rock and have a look over here, and take a breath, and be still and know that I am presence that has connection into all the information in the whole matrix.
Yeah,
does that make any sense?
Yeah, like when you're in one room with all this chaos and stuff, you're like, okay, I don't want to be in this anymore. I'm going to leave that room. I'm going to go over here where it's peaceful and quiet, and I can regenerate, I can rejuvenate, I can reconnect.
That's right. And by that reconnection, you have access to all the information. And you have opportunity as you clear your own pain and previous trauma and build up to then have your perceptors in a clear receptivity rather than a filtered assumption.
Yep. Yeah. I find that just going and sitting outside in the sun is the biggest. Oh, I love it so much. I am a sun goddess for sure.
It's sunny here today, so I love that because we haven't had a lot up here.
Yeah, so Maureen's in Vancouver, you guys. It's probably chilly outside.
Yeah, it's very chilly. It's going down to -11, that's Celsius at night this week. But that's cold for me. I'm a misplaced tropical plant.
It's like 70 here. It's so nice.
Oh gosh, that's
unusual.
Lovely. Yeah, it's like it's about 32 to 40 degrees here.
Yeah. Well, it is February. That makes sense. All right. Do you guys have any questions? No one has, everyone's living the life. They don't have any questions.
Well, what's our time? Did you want to give everybody an experience to, clear out some of their unconscious stress and buildup and fear that may not be serving them?
You guys want to have an experience? What does that entail?
Well, just taking people through an inner resonance technologies and IRT protocol, just asking a bunch of questions to put your superconscious into action to neutralize anything that is filtering you unnecessarily, that's not serving your greater good, so that then you can know very clearly what your gifts are and how to contribute to some kinds of positive movement forward.
And this is as a group, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if you wanted me to bring someone on and do it individually.
No, it's for everyone, because everybody's here and everybody just says yes. It's really simple and it's very non-invasive, and it puts you in charge. There's nothing I do to or for anyone, which is why I can work with one person and or like millions at once, because the protocol allows, it's a formula of questions that activates the part of you that already knows what your greater truth is and what's sitting in your field that's really not necessary, that is just filtering your perception in ways that aren't serving your greater good. And it just allows a greater level of presence and clarity and heart-based action.
Okay, so anything that someone want to work on, this is part of your IRT protocol, which I know personally, but anything that's stressing a person, they want to change their job, they want to get out of a relationship, they're just struggling in whatever areas. This is something, what you're about to do right now can help address all of that.
Yeah,
You're going to your
definitely.
higher conscious.
Yeah,
ask-
and some people, have instant healings with their bodies and different parts of who they are, and whatever maybe your main thing that is not working for you right now, you can focus on that as you focus on, or you choose freedom from that. Everything gets addressed because everything's entangled in the field. Everything's connected to everything else. So you might have a physical thing, but there's a whole lot of emotional and mental stuff sitting in your background that doesn't allow the energy, the freedom to regenerate you as fully as it might, because that energy gets diverted, that life force gets diverted into memory storage. So when you clear the whole matrix from all times and places, you free up your energy to show up differently and to allow your body to regenerate automatically to your healthiest blueprint, and your mind to be cleared, and your heart to be open and compassionate.
Okay, let's do it. All right, you guys, we're going to start the experience.
Everybody good with that? Getting any yays?
Mary says, was seeking some wonder and not just more info. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, so let's just do some wonder. That's what IRT is, right?
Yeah, this is definitely taking you into wonder.
Yeah, exactly. We've just been in the informational field way too much, and information is not what's needed right now. We just really need to shift and get into that place of wonder. I completely agree. Thank you, Mary. All right, so just going to take you through it very quickly and easily. And we start just by being aware of our breath and just being present with the fact that you're breathing, and remembering that you're breathing in infinite potential of the quantum reality, life, spirit, source energy. And as you're present with your breath and you're remembering and knowing that you are part of Great Spirit, you're part of the universe by breathing in this infinite source energy, and just saying yes and thank you for that awareness and to that energy in that part of yourself that knows. And if you have any spiritual belief systems in angels or guides or animal spirits, whatever it is, you don't need to have that, because you are it, part of and one with source. And whatever we have as the support in the unseen realms of spirit is always appreciated. So just saying yes and thank you, inviting your spiritual team into this process here today. And breathing with awareness of your body, because your body is your experiencer. It's your supercomputer. It is what gives you an experience on this journey in the 3D. And so because of that, the body is contracting with fear and build up and shuts down. And sometimes it's incrementally, sometimes it goes shut down and never fully opens back up. So we're going to ask the body, we're going to choose to switch on the body's full receptivity with all the programs that it knows how to work with spirit to shift your reality into a more positive, more coherent, aligned one. The words? Switch on body. So Kelly, let's you and I and invite the others to say those words, switch on body, at the count of 3. Okay, after I say 3, let's all together say switch on body. Okay, 1, 2, 3, switch on body. Excellent. And so you're plugged into your greater source. You've switched on your machine, your communication device, with full receptivity for your greater good. And now you're sitting at the keyboard, because truly you are commander of your personal universe. So what I recommend in this part of the protocol is that I am choosing freedom of fear of old programs that limit me, old misperceptions, old beliefs that are no longer aligned with my current reality and my current choices moving forward. old trauma, old pain, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, financial, relationships. Everything's connected to everything else. Everything is relationship, especially that one with our own greater self. And allowing all levels of memory to be addressed and shifted and cleared, brought into a new level of alignment with the greater truth that's here now. Your whole life, your ancestral programs of your DNA, all the soul memory. We're breathing in particles of memory, molecules of memory in the recycled atmosphere that everybody and everything has breathed in and out from the beginning of time on this planet. Physically, we're one through that scientific fact. Really interesting thought. And then all of the memory of the cosmic field, whatever that is on the grandest scale, because we are just this tiny little speck in this incredible cosmos. So we want to open the door really, really wide to include any potential that has an influence in our experience here at this moment. And then allowing all of our multidimensional selves, because we're all more than what meets the eye, to be coherently realigned around a new level of expression, fully healthy, happy for no reason, abundant, feeling on purpose, passionate about life, knowing that we have power to influence and shift and change and work together in a collaborative way, co-creating something of how we're choosing to be together on this planet. And next are a whole series of questions that are designed for you to say yes to your own self, your own higher self. So the first one is, are you allowing all this to happen in the safest and most appropriate way for you and all concerned at all times?
I'll say yes for myself and for everyone else.
Thank you very much. You're the proxy here. And are you allowing this to unfold in safer, gentler, and easier ways than you've ever experienced?
Yes.
And are you allowing effortless grace for instant and permanent shift of what's no longer relevant or necessary to drag forward?
Yes.
And are you allowing that part of you that's saying yes to be in charge?
Yes.
The part of you that's open to something different being possible in a different way than what you might have yet experienced. Would that be okay to be in charge? Excellent. And allowing what may not be ready today to trust the unfolding journey. And at the end of this protocol today, everybody will have another tool to instantly shift any reactions, any unwanted aspects of what isn't comfortable anymore for them, because the superconscious takes care of all of your whole field, including your whole subconscious, all realities from all time and spaces, because there is no time with your quantum higher self and superconscious self. So that's what's going on here right now as you're saying yes to all of this. Nothing to come through your mind or think about necessarily, nothing to process through your body. We're shifting it in the field from where those reactions come from.
Can people expect to feel any different, or what would change after this experience for people?
Yes. And most people come into a sense of greater, deeper relaxation very quickly. And so there's one more agreement, and that is to allow the part of you that knows your superconscious self and all of your spiritual team, whatever you believe is there to support you, freedom to play in that great mystery beyond our conscious mind's awareness, beyond our body's need to process anything. The body's designed to give us an experience in the moment. That's why the power of now. But we can never be present because we have all this and all this. And so this brings everything here into a clear new space of fresh choice, alignment with your greatest good and your greatest self. What I call the chemistry of wholeness, and the frequency of greater freedom, to be more of your authentic self than ever before. Inspired, creative, able to listen, and then act and move yourself forward in positive ways that truly do make a difference, and connect automatically with your next level of your greater good. And much like the law of attraction, your field is clear without all that interference and all that static. So everything can drop in and find you. And then you can also be inspired to go, aha, yes, that. And it's being in the flow zone, which is just a beautiful place to be, as we all know. So now, as that's all happening, as I chatter away here in the background with all your yeses, you've allowed yourself to be activated by your own superconscious higher self, and everything's getting shifted. Everything's getting neutralized that's not helpful or useful to drag forward. You're coming into greater clarity, freedom to be compassionate, to operate from your heart, which is the main creative force, actually, our heart.
I feel very tired all of a sudden.
Yeah, yeah.
Relaxed.
And that's, yeah, thank you for that feedback, because that's often what happens. People feel drained, because they're letting go, right? And we're so used to normalizing ourselves to a certain level of alertness, certain level of stress, or eustress or distress, and the balance of that kind of gets out of whack a little bit. And so we let go of the distress, and then oh, I'm tired, right? But it's like relaxation. We're not used to that level of relaxation. So just allow yourself to breathe in and out with that deeper sense of having let go and just being present. And to regenerate yourself will happen automatically. However, that's what I promised you at the second part of this protocol, that take a moment to dream, take a moment to vision, take a moment to imagine how you choose to be in the world, how you choose the world to be. And send love, send compassion to your main concerns of what's happening in your awareness and understanding of what's really tragic in the world. Send peace, send love, send comfort, send compassion.
And this protocol that we just went through is in Maureen's book, and it's out of stock right now, right? But there is a PDF file of it on your website, maureenedwardson.com, and it's $11 for the PDF. And she goes through this protocol, so people can do that on their own, right? When they
Absolutely. And each person, if they're curious about doing a one-on-one session, I offer a full complimentary session to people who tap in through, experiences like this. So don't be shy, when you go to my website and download the book, please contact me and say, hey, I saw you on Kelly Rivers, and I'd love a complimentary session. The website shows like a half-hour discovery session, but I like to go beyond and above that and give people a full experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. And there's a contact section on your website, right? They just hit that and then they can email you.
Right. So right now, as everybody is just taking a moment, because it doesn't take long, you just want to have that chemistry and that frequency that's all aligned, and just notice that, be present with that, and breathe in and out with awareness of your heart center 360, and find a space, a spot to touch, maybe tongue on the roof of your mouth, finger and thumb, or your heart. And just take a moment to marinate all that awareness together, how you're feeling, that deeper relaxed state. You might feel expanded or light. Whatever it is for you, just know this is a new level of wholeness, chemistry of wholeness, a new frequency of greater freedom than ever before, to be sovereign, to be not jerked around by everything outside yourself, to hold your alignment and your balance and your inner strength, the center of the storm within your own heart, clear and free, to speak or not speak, to give love, compassion, understanding to the problem at hand, to the issue that breaks your heart, going beyond the broken heart into a coherent empowerment of your quantum self that is interactive, co-creative, collaborative, making actual change for the good. And so I invite everybody to take 5 deeper breaths to anchor in this switch of wholeness, this switch of sovereignty, clarity, connection. So taking your first breath as you touch your spot, wherever it is. And as you breathe out, just let go of where you're touching. Second breath in and touching. Letting go. Third breath. Fourth breath in, touching. Breathing out, letting go. Fifth breath, breathing in. And breathing out, letting go. And if you wonder why 5, we can have a talk around all that as I give you a private session, or just contact me, on my website, ask any questions that you have personally, or please put them in the chat right here now. I'd love to respond and know how you're all feeling and what you have awareness of, what questions you have, anything you want to contribute.
That was amazing. Thank you. I'm sorry for interrupting. I didn't realize we weren't done. I forgot about the
No,
touch.
there's no interruption. What's really cool about IRT, there's no way to interrupt it, because remember, it's beyond the mind, beyond the conscious mind, beyond the body. So everything's happening automatically. Yeah, I interrupt myself a lot.
That is true. That's because it's not about the mind. It's so much bigger than that. So it's being taken care of.
It's a totally different paradigm, Kelly. So you can never interrupt IRT. It's not possible.
I had a question here for you.
Excellent.
It's from Ian Kelly. Hi, Ian. Has Maureen followed or been inspired by the late, great Louise Hay or Jerry and Esther Hicks with Abraham teachings?
Yes, definitely. I developed this work way before I encountered any of that. About 30 years. I've been almost 30 years, 29 years. I've been doing this work, and the first people that I experienced, that validated the science of what I'd put together, because I didn't understand it, at that level myself, was the work of Dr. Bruce Lipton and Deepak Chopra. And yes, and Louise Hay has been a huge influencer with positive affirmations and all the publishing house that she's created, a wisdom library for the whole world to shift, which is phenomenal, her contribution. And so, with affirmations, conscious mind processes at 40 bits per second, subconscious at 40 million bits per second, and the quantum consciousness, the higher self, and superconscious, poof, instant. So what I recommend is that even today, having gone through this protocol once, you have your spot wherever it is. And if you love affirmations, then, do your touch breath first. Even just a single touch breath activates the whole program. It's like an icon on your desktop that runs your 100 trillion cells worth of capacity to shift instantly. So it's clearing all the resistance in your field, clearing everything from all times and places instantly with a single touch breath. And then in that clear space from your heart center, you get to do your affirmation, all is well. I am whole and complete. Whatever the beautiful affirmations, I love myself. And then there's no resistance or kickback. It's fully received in a much more efficient way that really grounds into the center of your being from your heart. So yes, so that's how, the personal work of Louise Hay and all her affirmations that have made, saved people's lives and made a huge difference for all of us in our understandings of what parts of the body too, and what diseases and discomforts that we have. We can look up her list and see what it corresponds with. And, I think it's probably 90%, correct. However, I don't think it's 100%. So you can use your discernment, but whatever it is, before any of all that, if you have a physical problem, let's say you have a liver problem and there's an affirmation for the liver, then then how IRT factors in and supports is you do your touch breath before, which clears all the causal core levels, everything associated and connected with what's happening with your liver right here, right now, poof, free of what's ready to be healed around that in the background, build up. And then you do your affirmation. And then you do another touch breath at the end of that. So it just sort of seals it in and anchors in that new level of your reality that combines those things.
So this is different than the touch breath. When I do my touch breath, I do the hands and I breathe in and then I breathe out. Then I breathe in, and you were doing the touch in your heart or your chest. That is different because you're automatically, we already programmed that earlier, rather than using your conscious mind to be like, okay, spirit, I choose to release all the energies that are going on right now. That's
Right.
different from the conscious mind, right? When you do it like this way or this way, that's when
Yeah. It's your superconscious, it's your all of everything consciousness that addresses all times, all places, all dimensions, all realities simultaneously of what's not aligned, that puts everything into alignment and freedom from what's not, coherent, from what's not, from anything that's creating static or putting you out of balance. Anything that's causing interference in how you express yourself, whether it's physical problem, emotional, mental, spiritual, financial, relationship issue, right? So it's instant. Those words are formula that translate into an end result chemical signature. Then the brain has a switch on releasing, right? Every time you do this, it's clearing your whole body, your whole field from all times and places, and shifting your frequency.
So anytime you're getting ready to go do something that you might be a little worried about, you can do the touch breath. And like you're going to go eat a meal and you don't want to overeat or you don't want to eat poorly, you can do it before you're doing anything, right? Before and
That's
after you
right. Yeah.
clear.
And when people do 5 sessions, like a 5 session package with me, they end up, being free on a whole new level, like a total paradigm shift for most people. And then they automatically have different choices, and they don't want to eat something that's not healthy for them, or they have a positive thought automatically. They don't have to change their thought, because what the negative thought, where that came from, is all neutralized and shifted. And so automatically, we are love and we are positive.
And sometimes things take longer than others to release.
Everybody,
Well,
yeah,
you're not free from learning your life lessons by doing this because you're still going to have things come along, but you react differently to it, would you say?
yes,
Yeah, because you can't
absolutely.
be like, okay, puppy dogs and rainbows the rest of my
No, exactly. Life is life, right? And so who are we? Does it become an overblown, reactive, traumatizing event, or is it something that you can say, oh, okay, is this mine? This is not mine, so I can just show up and be compassionate automatically with that other person and hold space for them. I don't need to react. There might be, beating me up, emotionally and mentally, and I know that I'm okay. That's not me that they're projecting. And so I can just be quiet and calm and hold a loving presence. That will sometimes get people even more excited, because then you're not fighting and you're not taking it on. And so then they just take themselves out and they move away, right? And so, but you're okay, and you can be sending compassion, to them. And it's not a condescension, it's just holding space, and we all know how it feels to be reactive and angry and and it's our subconscious programs that's projecting. And by the very definition of projection, it's a defense mechanism, and by its very nature, unconscious. So we're not aware that we're projecting onto somebody else. It's just an automatic defense of our own safety, because it's too painful to go there for our own selves. But when you do your touch breath, it calms and neutralizes whatever that pain was, so that we can show up in a different way and look at ourselves differently and take responsibility. So when we can just be neutral automatically, then the other person comes around, in my experience, so, oh, I'm really so sorry. I was just really upset about this, that, or the other in the background, and I didn't realize it. Yeah.
Right. And it does work, you guys, because I work with Maureen, and my touch breath, like I was saying, I hold my hands and I breathe out and I let it go. And I have tremendous pain and suffering when it comes to technology. So my setting up computers and my monitors has been more than challenging. But I forgot to do the touch breath before. So I just realized that I'm like, oh, I got to do that because I'm getting so angry. I get triggered with this stuff. So I've been doing the touch breath and it makes a difference. It does really, really help because it puts it, like you say, it puts you back in the zone and all the chaos that I was in the middle of before. Yeah, I don't enter that phase anymore because when I start feeling it again, when I get irritated because my computer doesn't do what I want it to do, I just walk away and then I come back because I that's just a big trigger for me. I guess because I don't know what I'm doing and that really is irritating to me.
And the thing is, when we create all that static of frustration and anger, then technology doesn't work for us. I knew a teacher many years ago, and he was a very kind of a negative, angry sort of person. And he was a school teacher, and so every report card time, he was really stressed, and he was really good at his job, and he really wanted to do a good job for each child and each parent reporting, and so he'd go to greater lengths than most other teachers, and yet he'd be really frustrated about it all, and really, time crunched, and so every single report card time was that, what, 3 times a year in the school system, his computer would crash when he was doing report cards, and he never got the fact of his participation in that, of all his anger and frustration was,
Right.
shut down the computer.
Totally.
We're all electromagnetic beings, right? And we all have this field. And if it's out of coherence and it's just really like this, things happen. People have blown light bulbs, in shamanic training that I've been part of. We are energy beings. So it's very interesting when we start looking at the connections and the relationships between everything.
And as we are ascending, do we have more electrical, or we're more electrical? I don't know how to say it properly. Like we can make things go out.
Yeah, the energies are becoming more intense for positive or negative.
Just our bodies become more electrical as we are ascending. I meant that, like we can, like,
Yes, definitely.
and all of a sudden you're like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, higher electromagnetic frequencies. There's sun activity, M1 flares. There is the Schumann resonance of the planet, the Hertz frequency that the planet Earth vibrates at, and historically, for a long time, centuries, it's been 7.83, I believe. And recently, it's been up to 450, 500, off the charts. I heard Michael the other day say it had been up to 6,000. So, that's huge compared to 7.83 to the hundredth or the thousandths. And that's increased frequency that we're part of. So, lately I haven't necessarily been sleeping all that well. I've been, energized enough, but I've just been buzzing at night sometimes, and a lot of people are, and that's where people are talking about ascension symptoms. As our energies are ascending, increased in frequency is really what the word ascension means. We're not going anywhere, we're just shifting our frequency up into a different level. That is a different dimensional shift as well. People talk about going from the 3rd to the 5th dimension and beyond. So we are in that progression of ascending our energies. And one of the fastest tracks to do that and stay coherent and in alignment in a place of peacefulness is by shifting all the negativity, because in the principle of science, of physics, the word resonance, there's a range of harmonic frequencies that entrain up. Anything on the bottom level, if it's still harmonic and some range, will get entrained up. Nothing brings us down except our own negativity and what triggers us. That's interesting to know. And so we welcome triggers then. Oh, great. I get a chance to shift this out. Whatever that is, it's not working for me. I'm going to let go so I can move up, right? And there's no resistance down here. However, if there's a greater dissonance and out of the range of harmonics, then that becomes like oil and water and push back, push away.
Yes, I know how that feels.
We all do. Yeah.
It's called being human, right?
So did that answer the question?
I think so. How'd you guys like the experience? Please let us know.
Yeah, tell us.
Julie says, I am feeling deeply what you were saying. I can now see through the lies of the ego. I have been practicing and holding space. I keep my center and calmly ignore my outer circle. That's awesome.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
And that's where we're hoping to be, because that's an empowered place.
The PF or P factor, I don't know what that says. What does IRS stand for? I don't know if you mean IRT, it's inner resonance technology.
No IRS here. Inner resonance technologies.
Inner technologies, yes. And it's your website's maureenedwardson.com.
Correct.
Okay. I'm just reading through. I think this, I don't see any questions. Does Maureen ever communicate directly with her spirit guides? If so, how?
I'm not one of those people that get the big megaphone, instructions. I have more of a feeling nature, and yes, and so it's a little bit more amorphous rather than direct. But yeah, I have a ton of guides, and they're always communicating with me. But I kind of laugh at myself. I sometimes call myself unconsciously conscious. And so it just sort of automatically kind of listen and act on that information. And the clearer we become of any old negative experiences and influences, we can be one with that, because truly we are connected in directly to source energy. And we do have that support system, much like we have, in our physical 3D lives. We have friends and people that, we vibrate with and support us. It's the same, in those other realms. And yet, the main event is you listening to your own source and your own higher self is the best, and greatest discernment for you. Because even the people that channel, guides, they say, we're being told to tell you that everybody's receiving this information through their own filters. And so, we as channels, or we as spirits on the other side, are also perceiving things. And so you may hear us say something and filter that through your own personal discernment, even if it's your own guides talking to you. How does that feel to you? And we always are at choice point. And we are the co-creators. We're creating together with all of that information and the messages. And some people are more aligned with those messages from their guides than others. And if there's a misalignment, or you're not liking the information that you hear, do your touch breath, clear your field, and then you'll get that clarity and connection.
That's different. So you could do doing the touch breath. That's basically the same as like all these different energy psychologies people use to change their programming, their beliefs. They want to break bad habits. They want to change their life. And tapping is really popular. And I'm not personally a big fan of tapping, but it works really well for some people.
Well, for a lot of people, yeah,
it does work really well. But the touch breath is a replacement, is because you're going directly to the source, and it is the same thing.
You're changing. Definitely. The difference with IRT is that it allows you to connect in and shift all that information in your background without having to know what it is, or have to think about it even briefly, or feel it. There's an old belief that you can't heal unless you feel. You have to feel in order to heal. And that's no longer absolute truth. It is one truth. However, there's another level of truth that we have, and it's an understanding of our higher selves now, and our quantum selves. And our quantum selves has all the information in informational patterns in our field that then can be neutralized out there. And so if there's anything for us to understand or have insight on, that's clear to us, and it comes to us if it's useful and relevant. If it's not, it's like it never happened. So the energy is just freed up, and it doesn't need to occupy any time or space in our field.
I love that. I did a lot of childhood work, or just past trauma work that people did back in the 2000s, like 2008 to 9 and 10. And it's exhausting going back and healing old wounding and childhood wounding and whatnot. So if you've never done an ounce of work on yourself at all, congratulations, because that's not fun. The stuff I went through anyway. But the work that you do, you don't have to do any of that other stuff that I went through. You just go directly to the source, and that's so amazing. No, I'm just trying to change the beliefs back before. I didn't know you in 2008. Where were you?
Well, yeah. And, I just want to make clear to people too, and really have clarity that this is not a spiritual bypass, because, it's your own higher self, your quantum self, choosing what's no longer relevant, that has no further useful purpose to re-experience or know or have to work through. It gives opportunity for the part of you that knows what is just sitting there with no purpose to shift itself out. Yeah. And anything that you do need then has greater access and ability to be present with it in whatever way you're choosing.
And what if you want doesn't change? Is anything, I think I know the answer to this, so I want to ask for everyone else. Is discipline required in this? I would think the answer is no, because you're going to your higher self and you're not going to be drawn to do those things that you didn't want to do in the first place.
Yeah.
So it's not about discipline.
Discipline is not an issue at all. It's the difference between motivation and inspiration. If you're, being motivated to do something, that's more like a discipline. You get motivated. I've got to get motivated and I've got to get this done. I've got to do this. And inspiration is just like it draws you forward. It's just.
Yeah. And that's how we want it to be, right? It's just easy. It's effortless. And that's how life is supposed to be.
It is, it's a flow,
Right.
That's why we say safe and appropriate, easy and gentle, effortless grace. And that translates, if you don't like the word effortless grace, to effortless effort. And that's when you're in the flow and things just automatically get done. You go to make lunch and you end up cleaning out your fridge, it's not like that. Oh, I got to clean out my fridge. I got to get motivated, got to do it, when you're in that space, right? It just gets done.
Oh, it's so much better than having to, scratch, claw, and dig, trying to get your way through that.
And it's okay. People that like to do that, they get a lot of satisfaction. There's nothing wrong with that. They say, yeah, I did it. I got it done, and it just takes a little bit longer. It's a little harder. And sometimes it has a side effect of creating more stress. However, everybody has their own path in their own way. And I had a friend years ago who he didn't necessarily like to do any sessions, and he had lots of background trauma because he loved the intensity, of the experience, and that was fine, right?
And for him, yes, not for me.
Yeah, because made him feel alive. Just like I had a client many years ago too that really didn't want to let go of their anger, because anger can be a force, great force for change. And so I took a different question for him, and I said, well, if there is any anger that's not healthy or that has a really negative side effect, because we know the chemistry of anger, can eat us up, from the inside. And there's no bad emotion except the ones that are stuck, and that we don't let go of, we don't act out appropriately and then move on from. All emotions are valid. We're here to experience the whole thing. But so I said to him, okay, so if there is any anger that is not healthy and that's not serving any useful positive purpose, would you be willing to allow that part of your anger to be cleared out? Oh, yeah, sure, great. But I love my anger because I love that energy to get things done. Okay, cool. So I took him through a protocol. And then he said, when he came out of the session, he said, wow, I always thought the anger really was a positive force for me to get stuff done. But I'm realizing right now that love is even stronger. It was a phenomenal shift in his awareness.
Went on.
And the insight that he had. I mean, I didn't say anything around any of that. I said, well, if there's any anger that's not useful, are you willing to let it go? Yeah, okay. Yeah. And then he came to a new level of awareness.
I like that. That's
power
awesome.
of love. So who else is out there?
Let's see. So if you want to take action and you don't know what to do, you want to change your life, but you don't know what to do, just doing the touch breath, the inspiration will come to you, right? Because doing action without knowing what you're doing, it seems kind of meaningless.
Yeah, yeah. You'll know. That's right. You'll feel it. You'll know because it'll feel right, right?
Right. And it'll just come to you rather than you consciously being like, okay, what are these things that I can do? I need to do something.
Right.
Okay. Okay. We're gonna have to take a couple more questions and we're gonna end this
Okay.
beautiful video. I don't think there are any questions. You guys have any more questions? Please write it in. I know there's like a 30-second delay in what comes up and then after I've spoken. Mary says, this is what I like about your process. I have gone through the dang crap in memory enough. Yeah, Mary is a fan and she enjoyed your experience.
Thanks so much, Mary. Yeah, yeah. Get in touch. But lovely to meet you.
Yeah, you guys got to go to our website and contact her. I know you can do it on your own, but I like working with you because I'm not using my mind. I can just relax and you do the protocol, you ask me all the questions and it puts me in the zone. Like when you were doing it earlier, I'm like, okay, I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah. Personally, I like being facilitated too. Yeah, I agree with you. Something nice just about sitting back and, we're all part of each other and it's kind of nice to hold space for each other, but it's not necessary with this, as you know, and people can get my book and even just read through the protocol. And everybody that's on the call today, you've got your touch point wherever it is, your touch breath, and that on a daily basis before you sleep, when you wake up, anytime you get triggered, it just allows everything to get neutralized and come into a whole new level of freedom and clarity and connection. And it's a one-stop shopping, for that. And you don't even need to have an intention because everything is known in your field that's not working for you. And what's known is what's ready at any given moment. And what wasn't ready today may be ready tomorrow or next year or next week, and so we are that work in progress. This just smooths the way and opens doors and allows you to feel better about life along the way.
And also when you are using touch breath and you're in tune with spirit, it rubs off on the people around you. So those that are having a hard time doing it, you being in their presence or them, you being in their presence makes a big difference, right?
It trains up. Yeah. If you're feeling a little low, and you go to a party and everybody's having a great time, you go, yay, I'm so glad I came. I feel good now. But if you go and you're really super depressed and you go into a room of happy people, you go, oh, I got to go home now. Right. So that's the difference.
Yeah. It's exciting because a lot of people, you don't know how to help someone that needs help. Like me, you don't need to say anything at all. Just being around them, off your energy.
Being yourself is enough, and being in a good space, and trains the people that are ready to, feel better. And the others that aren't ready, well, they just go and their time comes when it comes, with whatever way it comes. And I like that. So there's no judgment. There's no right or wrong way, just what is at the moment and what works, for you or doesn't. So it's nice that way.
Right? They may not even be conscious of, they feel different after being around this person who's a high vibration, but it does make a difference.
And by the way, I just want to put another program note in here, and that is that everybody that's DNA and heart connected with you are the greatest people that you influence instantly and spontaneously. So today, as we've gone through the protocol, everybody that's online that participated, whether you thought you're participating or not, being on the call, your subconscious jumped on and did it. I just got to let you know that. And the same effortless for everybody that's DNA and heart connected with you, automatically and spontaneously at the moment you were doing this, they got it at the level they were ready for, to open up to their next level of freedom and clarity. So it's really interesting watching that. I worked with a woman and she had a bit of an alcohol issue, but she was very concerned about her son, her grown-up son, who was alcoholic, and he hadn't been open to doing any kind of treatment. And she was just, hoping that he would do sessions with me. And I said, well, maybe just doing sessions for yourself will be enough. And true enough, she reported back that all of a sudden, out of the blue, he decided to go to treatment. So he was influenced, in that.
And not even realizing. And I love that. Oh, yeah. We're all connected. I love that. Okay. Mary has enjoyed this podcast, so we've enjoyed you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary. Yes.
And everyone else. Thank you guys for joining. I love this. How can she advise on how to stay positive for eating change?
Do your touch breath.
Dawn.
Yeah, do your touch breath. You
Yeah,
know, before, even if you're making wrong choices in your world of what you're eating, do your touch breath before and after, and just make it digestible and assimilable, and you know, it allows whatever is not working to dissolve and change. Because sometimes when we need to change a habit and we've cleared the background of why we had that habit, we might choose the same thing again, but then we'll feel differently about it, and it won't resonate with us in the same way anymore. And so we think, what's the point, right? I used to get pleasure out of this, but it's not a big thing anymore.
So who asked, I can't find your name now, who asked that question, but she just jumped on, so she missed the earlier part of our video. But go back and watch the video earlier. We went through a protocol and she asked all these questions talking to our superconscious, and then we, during that, at the end of it, we created a touch breath where you were holding your hand on your heart, but you can do whatever you want to lock in the, how would you say,
chemistry. Yeah, the positive chemistry of change, of balance, of alignment, of connection.
So then you use that touch breath throughout the day, every day, whenever you want to, clear the air, start fresh.
And thank you so much, Kelly, because, you know, people can watch this over and over again and give themselves the session, you know, over and over again.
Yeah, and share it with other people that might be interested in it.
That could benefit.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone can benefit from it. Some people are just addicted to drama. Yes, they are. And they have to come out of that on their own. So maybe being around someone that's like yourself, Julie, that is, you know, in the zone, they can feed off of that.
And that is an addiction, you know, it's an adrenaline addiction that many people have these days, you know, in our society. It's just so full of drama and trauma that, you know, we get into that state that becomes our go-to, you know, without realizing it's like a default state. So this also clears that, so that you can come into a place of greater coherence and heart-based peacefulness, inner peace, which is much wanted and needed.
This is such a great program, this IRT. I absolutely love it. It's going straight to the source. It's so easy. Like, you don't have to eat, like, we don't have to wake up every morning and do this, and this. I'm into easy peasy, and I love it.
Yeah, you know, and it's really interesting, you know, it can be too easy for certain people. And I'm wondering if Paige is on the call. Can you ask if Paige is on the call? I just got a discovery session request from Paige.
Oh, that's
I wonder if she's on the call.
On Paige. Are you still on here, Paige? I'm looking through. I don't see her. She's too busy on your website. She can't.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. It's all connected. Yeah, this person is on their way to Mexico to build an eco community with like-minded people. So anybody is interested in that, you know, send me a contact from my website, and I'll hook you up with Paige.
All right.
I love how the world works.
We're all connected. 3 Squirrels. Her website is maureenedwardson.com. And okay, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much. And thank you, Maureen. This is awesome. I love this stuff. So exciting.
You're awesome, Kelly. You know, you make such a difference in the world with all your interviews and the people that you bring to the greater world of possibilities.
Sammy makes a difference too. He just chose not to be here today.
Yeah, Sammy, it's really all Sammy. You know, we have to be honest here. Where is Sammy? He's not on his bed.
I don't know where he is. He's not having it. I think he's
done his job, so he
likes to sunbathe on the balcony, so he's probably out there.
We're taking that in from you, Sammy. Thank you.
All right, you guys enjoy your Sunday, the rest of your weekend, and Maureen, I will be talking to you tomorrow.
Yeah. And enjoy the Super Bowl, any of you that are shifting over to that.
Oh, yeah, Super Bowl Sunday.
And you know, May may the good team win, and may that be your team. And if it's not, do your touch breath.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have money on it, then we'll go for your team. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Maureen.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.